How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another Mortal Kombat video. Today, we are going to determine which Mortal Kombat game developed under NetherRealm Studios has the best roster. For those of you that don't know, Mortal Kombat was developed by two different entities. The very first Mortal Kombat game through Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe was developed under Midway Games, and then Mortal Kombat 9 through Mortal Kombat 1 was developed under NetherRealm Studios. So we're going to be talking about the latter, Mortal Kombat 9 through Mortal Kombat 1. Now, there does seem to be quite a bit of division within the Mortal Kombat community on which of the NRS titles has the best roster, with some people claiming that Mortal Kombat 9 has the best roster because it contains every character that was featured from the original Mortal Kombat all the way through Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But then there's some other people that prefer newer characters and the 3D era characters that claim that Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 1 have better rosters. So with all these different viewpoints that we have with this community, how do we objectively decide which roster is the best? In order to do this, I've devised a set of parameters that are designed to keep me as objective as possible when ranking these rosters. Now, of course, there's going to be some bias, and I'll go over that later, but again, with this ranking, this is going to be the most objective ranking that we can have for our NRS rosters. So the main goal of this video here is I'm going to go through each roster and eliminate characters if they do not fall within the parameters that I have set, and whichever roster has the most characters remaining at the end, that's the roster that's going to be the greatest one in the NRS era. And of course, you'll follow sequentially after that based on the number of characters left on the roster. Before we get in this video, let's just quick go over what all these parameters are. So number one, we're going to eliminate characters based on whether or not they appear in all four NRS titles. This, of course, makes the most logical sense. If you and your buddy are debating which roster is better between Mortal Kombat X and 11, and they go, Mortal Kombat 11 is better because it has Scorpion. Well, every NRS title has Scorpion in it, so using that as a debate about which roster is better doesn't really make any sense. So let's just eliminate all those characters that show up in all four games. Next, we're going to eliminate characters on whether or not they are a fan favorite. This is where the ranking starts to get a little subjective. That's because every character is somebody's favorite. So it's kind of hard just to eliminate a character because, for example, I can go through a few rosters and say, hey, this character, isn't very popular, so let's just take him out. And somebody's going to go in the comments and be like, well, that's actually my favorite character. How could you? Yes, every character is somebody's favorite, but there are characters that are objectively more popular than others. So if a less popular character steals a roster spot from a more popular one, I can see that's kind of problematic, and that's going to cause that character to get eliminated. I will consider DLC characters for these rankings. However, I will not consider guest DLC characters. Even though it sucks that you have to pay extra money to be able to play as these characters, you still can play as those characters in that game. They become a part of the roster. You just have to pay a little bit extra on top of the base game you already bought. As for guest characters, this is a Mortal Kombat video. We only care about Mortal Kombat characters in here. Guest characters usually show up for one game and then they're gone forever, so I'm not even going to consider them for these rankings. Plus, guest characters are a big debate on whether or not they belong at all, and that's not what this video is about. We're just caring about which roster has, or which game has the best Mortal Kombat roster. For our next parameter, I will not consider tier lists for these rankings. So that's another big debate that's been going on so I gave that example of Scorpion earlier. There are some people that will say Mortal Kombat X is better than Mortal Kombat 1 because Mortal Kombat X Scorpion was objectively better than Mortal Kombat 1. That's not what this video is about. I don't care how each character ranked within their respective games. I just care that that character was playable within that game. Next, I will not normalize these rankings based on roster size. So what I kind of mean by that is each of the NRS titles has a different amount of characters on their roster. Right? Mortal Kombat 9, I believe, has 32 characters in the roster, and Mortal Kombat 1 has 29. So obviously there's a 3-character differential there, so Mortal Kombat 1 is already starting off behind on Mortal Kombat 9. And some people might think that's unfair, that now Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't really stand a chance to rank any higher on this list. Well, in my opinion, that is fair. Because if you're going to make a game and you're going to not even replace a character in a roster spot with a different one, but straight up eliminate that spot altogether, then your game deserves to be ranked harsher than a game that gave us more content. Usually more content for less money. And lastly, and this last one pertains only to Mortal Kombat 1, I will not consider cameos as part of the main roster. So yes, even though cameos are required to play in Mortal Kombat 1 and they are technically playable, the character is nothing more than just a few special moves. They're not fully fleshed out, they don't have a full combo or move list, usually only about 4 special moves that you can use, and they have a timer to cool down, so you can't even play as them the full match. If you already use them right away, you kind of have to wait before you can use them again. They're also in the background, they're not the main focus of the game like the base characters are, so for that reason, cameo fighters are not going to be included within this ranking. So that is all the parameters that I have. We've gone through a lot already and we haven't even gotten to our rankings, so that's enough wasting your guys' time. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. Alright, so we're going to go through the rosters one by one, starting with Mortal Kombat 9, going to get through all the eliminations, and then at the end we'll compare the 4 rosters. As you can see, I don't have a very, advanced setup here. It's basically just the rosters in a Google Doc, and I'm just going to put a black box over the character as we eliminate them. So starting off, let's just go through and eliminate the characters that were in all 4 games. So those characters are going to be Scorpion, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Sub-Zero, Katana, Mileena, Raiden, and Johnny Cage. So that is pretty much going to conclude Mortal Kombat 9. As I kind of alluded to earlier in the video, this roster is made up of all the characters from the original Mortal Kombat all the way from Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which was nothing but fan favorites. So we really have no other characters to eliminate from this list, so now we'll move on to the next roster. Okay, now moving on to Mortal Kombat X, we're going to do the exact same thing and just block out all the characters that were in all 4 games. Okay, so that's all the characters that were in all 4 NRS titles. Now for this game, we are going to go through and pick out our fan favorites. I'm just going to move left to right looking at the roster here. So starting off, I'm just going to, group those 3, Jax, Sonya, and Kenshi. Those are all fan favorites. Jax and Sonya being from Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and then Kenshi being objectively the most popular 3D era character, so their inclusion in this game all makes sense. Now moving to the right, we have the 4 Kombat Kids, and these again I'm all going to group together. The Kombat Kids kind of got a mixed reception. They are supposed to be legacy characters, once in a while the characters, the basic characters get a little bit stale, so they create new characters that are supposed to take their place. In the 3D era, Shujinko was supposed to be the legacy of Liu Kang. He was supposed to be the next Liu Kang. These Kombat Kids are supposed to be the next generation of classic fighters. Takeda is supposed to be the next kind of Scorpion Kenshi mix, Cassie the next Johnny Sonya, Jackie the next Jax, and Kung Jin the next Kung Lao. Well, the problem with that is that they're not really unique enough. So for Takeda and Kung Jin, I will say they are unique enough. Takeda's got his kind of whip spears, which are just different enough from Scorpion's regular spear. That's kind of a cool move. He kind of uses them in these tornado fashions that we haven't really seen before. He's got that teleport and those kind of throwing stars. Takeda is a cool character. I think he was received well in this game. And that's why he was requested to come back in both Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 1. So for that reason, Takeda, I will keep him. He is a fan favorite, popular character. Now Cassie and Jackie, I'm going to again lump those 2 together. Those, I would say, are a bad example of a legacy character. Legacy characters are supposed to take over, like I said, the older characters and make a new one that's just as popular. The problem with Cassie specifically is she is literally just if you took Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage and mashed them together to get a character. Now obviously Cassie's the daughter of those 2, so that's literally how it is. But they gave her Johnny's quips, so Johnny's shadow moves, and Sonya's, military moves, and just combined the 2 to make one new character. She's not really unique enough to be her own character. She's just 2 characters into one. And if you would ask somebody, like, hey, who would you rather have on the roster? Would you have Johnny and Sonya or Cassie Cage? Everyone's going to pick Johnny and Sonya over Cassie. Again, she's just 2 characters combined in one. You're basically losing a character by having her. So for that reason, we are going to eliminate her from. And then that brings us to Jackie. She is again supposed to be the legacy character of Jax, and she is Jax's daughter, so she should have some similarities to Jax, but she has literally every similarity to Jax. She has his ground pound, his gotcha grab, even his guns. So Jackie is just a carbon copy of Jax, but as a female. And just so you guys know, I have no bias towards these characters any which way. I'm trying to look as objective as possible. So I'm not eliminating Cassie and Jackie because they're female versions of that character. It's just because they were poorly made. Right? Jackie is just the female version of Jax. We don't, considering Jax is already on this roster, you don't need the exact same character twice, just gender swapped. So we're going to eliminate Jackie from this. Alright, moving on to Kung Jin. He is, again, a legacy character of Kung Lao. And based on the naming properties, I guess, I read this somewhere that instead of being called Kung Jin, he should be called Jin Lao, if he was going to fit the family name. But that's neither here or there, just a fun fact I thought I'd bring up. With Kung Jin, though, he has the unique gameplay. I don't think we've had any character yet in the Mortal Kombat era, or in any Mortal Kombat game, I don't know why I said Mortal Kombat era, in any Mortal Kombat game that uses a bow and arrow. Right, you have the Green Arrow in the Injustice series, but we don't really have anything like that in the Mortal Kombat series. At least not in the NRS era. So, he's a new character with family ties, so it is kind of the legacy there, but he has a unique moveset, he has all these cool moves. We are going to keep him as a fan favorite. Alright, moving on from there, we go on to Tanya and Boraicho, two of the DLC characters. These, again, I would say are popular characters from the 3D era. Maybe not the most popular, but they definitely have a large enough fan base that's worth keeping them in there. Boraicho is more of a jokey character that I would put in line with maybe Mocap or Meat, but I think he was fleshed out well enough as a character that he's elevated above, like just the straight up pure joke characters like Mocap and Meat. So we'll keep him in there. Next up we have Shinnok. He is one of the more popular villains, I'd say. Again, I would rank him below Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung. But he is a popular villain, he has a fan base, and it's kind of cool that you can play as the main villain from the story mode. So for that reason, and pretty much that reason alone, we are going to keep Shinnok in there. Like, he's going to stay either way because he's a big enough fan favorite, but add on the top that he's the villain and you get to unlock him at the end of the story mode is just really cool. Kano's a fan favorite from the first game, gotta keep him. Aaron Black was a new character introduced in this game. And I think his reception was really well, and his lore, he's this immortal cowboy that came from Earthrealm, went to Outworld, and kind of made a deal with the devil to become immortal, and now he just serves the ruler of Outworld. I think that's a cool narrative behind the character. His costume design is cool, his moveset is pretty cool. So Aaron Black, even though I think he's a pain in the ass character to fight against, he is a really cool character, so we're going to keep him in. Ermac, again, that's a Mortal Kombat, an early Mortal Kombat character. I think he was a hidden fighter in Mortal Kombat 2, playable in Mortal Kombat 3, so we'll keep him. Next up is Kotal Khan. When they first introduced Kotal Khan as a character, I thought he was going to be the brother of Shao Kahn. I didn't realize that Khan was a title given to the ruler of Outworld. I thought it was like a family name, like Kung Lao. But no, it's just a title. But this character did not disappoint. He's everything you kind of want in what he was presented as, if that makes any sense. He's this big Aztec god with all these different powers. He's noble, I guess for the most part, other than when he betrays Earthrealm at the end of the MKX story. But he's a really cool character, and I think he was received well. We'll keep him in. Reptile, classic character, gotta keep him. And then we have Ferrator. Ferrator was my main in this game. I really like the character. I think it's a cool idea. I just don't think he was really executed too well. Ferrator is nothing but cannon fodder in the story mode. If you don't know what that means, basically they're there just to get their ass kicked, and that's it. There's really nothing else connecting them to it. And I bet if you were to go through and list every single Mortal Kombat character that ever existed, you would completely forget about Ferrator. I forgot Ferrator was in this game, or even a Mortal Kombat character in general, and I mained them in Mortal Kombat X, all the way up until Predator released. So, because of how forgettable they are, and really, they didn't have a point other than just getting their ass kicked, but they're not on that level of Baraka, who was cool, but got his ass kicked up until Mortal Kombat 1, we're going to have to eliminate Ferrator. So moving on to D'Vorah, I do think she has a large enough fan base that she gained popularity in Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. I am going to eliminate her from this roster, though, because narratively, she is one of the most hated characters in the game. The main reason is she has killed pretty much every, uber popular character in Mortal Kombat. In Mortal Kombat X, she killed Baraka, who is a huge fan favorite all the way back to Mortal Kombat 2. She killed Melina, again, like, Meline's one of the most popular characters in the franchise, going back to Mortal Kombat 2. And then she killed Scorpion, who is the poster child of Mortal Kombat. She did that in the Mortal Kombat 11 story mode. So because D'Vorah, she's unique enough, she's a cool character. Personally, I would keep her in this roster, but because she gains so much hate for just killing every popular character in every story mode she's been in, we are going to eliminate her from this roster. And again, this is another character that since playing Mortal Kombat 1, I kind of forgot she existed. So with that, D'Vorah fans, I am sorry. I was on the fence whether or not to keep her in the roster, but narratively, she's got to go. Now we're going to move on to the rest of the characters. There's 4 left. Quan Chi, he was the most popular sub-boss from the Mortal Kombat 4. If you consider Mortal Kombat 4 as the start of the 3D era, a lot of times it's lumped in with the arcade era, because I think it was the last arcade version of Mortal Kombat, but it was on Console 2 at the same time, if I'm recalling that correctly. Either way, he's the most popular sub-boss. People love this character. He's been back in almost every game, so we're going to keep him on the roster. Goro, now he was the coolest pre-order DLC bonus we've had to date. Going from Mortal Kombat 9, where this guy was a menace, to Mortal Kombat X, where you could actually play as him, it was just super cool. So no doubt in my mind, Goro is staying. Tremor, one of the DLC characters, he's a really cool ninja. And this is technically the 3rd game he's ever appeared in. The 2nd game he's playable. On the PSP version of Mortal Kombat 9, you could unlock Tremor, but I think he's just like the reptile in Mortal Kombat 1. He just had a bunch of characters' moves mashed together. So this is the first game where he's his own fleshed out character, and I do think he is a very popular character. And part of that is because we haven't seen him a whole lot. This is the only roster he's playable, so we'll keep Tremor on there. And lastly, we have Triborg, technically Quadborg if you count the Cyber Sub-Zero glitch or Easter egg you can throw on there. This one received a lot of mixed reception, because Mortal Kombat X introduced the variations, so each character has 3 different versions you can play, whereas Triborg, with their 4 different versions, you have one for Sector, one for Cyrax, one for Cyber Smoke, and one for Cyber Sub-Zero, and people were mad that they didn't have 3 variations of Cyrax, 3 variations of Sector. They wanted 3 variations of each character, not basically lumping all the cyborgs together in one character. But personally, I don't see how they could have done that, like 3 per character, without ruining some aspect of the character and what made them a cool character. So I'm going to keep Triborg in. I think this was a good way to add all 4 cyborgs without wasting too many roster spots and with giving them all basically their necessary toolkit. So we're going to keep Triborg in there. And even though this is technically his first introduction in the game, he's a new character, Triborg. It's just all the Cyber Ninjas, pretty much. So that's going to conclude it for Mortal Kombat X. And now we can move on to Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay, so here we go with Mortal Kombat 11. To try and streamline things, I'm only going to talk about the characters that are brand new to this game. I'm not going to go over every character that was in a previous Mortal Kombat game, kind of like I did with the last roster. So we're just going to go over the ones that are new. But first, let's eliminate the characters that have either showed up in all 4 games, or we already talked about with Mortal Kombat X and eliminated through there. Alright, now that we've gotten through all of our repeats, let's just go through and talk about the technically 7 new characters that were introduced in this game, at least for the NRS era. And that's Shao Kahn, Frost, Scarlet, Geras, Collector, Cetrion, and Fujin. So we're just going to work our way top from bottom, starting with Shao Kahn. He is arguably the most memorable and popular boss in not just Mortal Kombat history, but through all of gaming history. Everybody knows who Shao Kahn is. So this is the first game he's playable in, and technically the only game in the NRS area that you can play as Shao Kahn, as General Shao is slightly different in the next game. But for that reason, we're going to keep him. I think that would just be an injustice eliminating Shao Kahn from any roster. Next up, we have Frost. You could make an argument that she's just a gender-swapped version of Sub-Zero. However, I'm going to make the argument that she should stay on this roster. I do think she is unique enough to earn a roster spot. Narratively, her desires are completely different than Sub-Zero, especially the Kuai Liang Sub-Zero we get in this game, where Sub-Zero is honorable and he wants to do what's in the Lin Kuei's best interest, but Frost wants to do what's in her best interest. She's more selfish, she's kind of cyberized, so she's got a little bit more unique appearance other than just your classic ninja form. Like, obviously you can put the classic skin on her, but she's still more of a cyborg. Her moveset is also just different enough, even though it still utilizes ice powers. She kind of explodes ice from her body. She has like a drill instead of a slide, and she uses a pickaxe instead of the axe that Sub-Zero uses. So even though they could be a little similar, I think she is unique enough to earn her roster spot. Moving on down to Scarlet. Now, technically, and this is why I said that technically 7 new characters in the NRS era, Scarlet is not new to this game, as she was a DLC in Mortal Kombat 9. But I forgot to mention earlier, when I was going over the Mortal Kombat 9 roster, Scarlet's very first game she was ever in was Mortal Kombat 9. When she was introduced as a DLC in 9, I thought that she was just an old character that they brought back. But no, this Mortal Kombat 9 was her first game, so technically Mortal Kombat 11 is the first game and only game where she's a base character and actually has a narrative and a story to go with her. Yeah, she kind of started as a rumor, kind of like Ermac, how in the old arcades it would show error macro and people thought like, oh hey, there's a secret hidden character. And then the developer's like, well, no, but we like that idea, so let's run with it. That's exactly how Scarlet came to be. There was a glitch in the arcade version where Kitana would have a red outfit, and everyone was like, oh, that's a hidden character, that's a new character, let's call her Scarlet. And that wasn't the case, it was just a glitch, but the developers saw that like, you know what, that's a cool idea. Let's make a red ninja. A red female ninja. And that's how we came to be with Scarlet. So this is the only game that Scarlet is a base character with, and she has a story mode. And I think her story, her design, her moves, I think everything is really cool about her. So for that reason, she deserves a roster spot. And even if she was, even in Mortal Kombat 9, if she didn't really have a story behind her, she's just a random character, I still think she deserved that spot because her moveset is unique and cool enough. And it's like the epitome of Mortal Kombat, right? This is a gory, bloody game, and her powers are to use blood. Like, that's cool. Moving on down, we have Garrus. We're going to keep Garrus as well. He is a popular character. Obviously, he was popular enough they brought him back for Mortal Kombat 1. His design is cool, his powers are cool, they're also super unique. It's kind of nonsense that he's used as, again, cannon fodder, at least in the story chapters, because he just gets beat by everyone. But then even though he gets beat, he still just stands up and wins the fight anyways. Like, I think back to the Shaolin Monks chapter of Mortal Kombat 11, where Kung Lao and Liu Kang fought Garrus and won, and then he just came back alive, froze them, and then just went on with his day. But again, cool character, cool powers. He deserves a spot on the roster, and I would not be sad to see him in further Mortal Kombat games. Moving on from that, we have Collector, and that is the first character, at least extra character from this game that we are going to eliminate from the roster. Again, this is another character that was just cannon fodder. He did have a few story mode chapters. You fought him in Kotal Khan's chapter, you fought him in Jade's chapter, and then I believe it's Nightwolf's chapter in Aftermath. But basically, all he does is show up, gives a little bit of exposition to Shao Kahn, and then gets beat. And even outside of that, his whole, I guess, lore is he's a tax collector for Shao Kahn. Not really the coolest story. I do think he's a unique character, has a unique moveset, he's fun to play with. I played him a lot in Mortal Kombat 11, and I'm glad he's in Mortal Kombat 11, but he's not a very popular character, he's very forgettable. I honestly forgot he was a character, and he is in Mortal Kombat 1, technically speaking. If you play Invasions, the Collector's all over the place, and he sells you stuff in Invasions mode. And even then, I think of Collector more as the shopkeep than an actual playable character. He was also a shopkeep in Mortal Kombat 11, the game he was a main or a base character in, because he was in the crypt and you could sell him stuff. So he's more useful as like a character that you can sell stuff to than an actual fightable character. Like if the roles were reversed and he was a shopkeeper first, and like let's say Mortal Kombat X, you introduced him, and he's just an NPC that you buy stuff from, and then he comes in Mortal Kombat 11 as a playable character, then I might keep him on the roster as, yeah, that's cool, that's unique, that's awesome. They brought an NPC and turned him into a playable character, a popular NPC. But because he was a character that they turned more into an NPC, they got to remove him from this list. Alright, we got 2 more characters to go. First one, Cetrion. Again, this is another character that is unique. Narratively, they're really cool, but they were kind of useless. Right, this is an elder god. She is supposed to be one of the most powerful beings in the entire universe, and she, again, is just cannon fodder. She gets beaten every fight she's in, and at the end of the story mode, she, like, sacrifices herself and just gets absorbed by Kronika. Kronika just absorbs her, and then she's gone. Another character that, again, forgot it was a playable Mortal Kombat character, because if you're not seeing her on the roster, you kind of forget she exists. Her gameplay wise, she's also super annoying. A lot of people dislike her because she's a zoning character. So if you were to play against a Cetrion in Mortal Kombat, most of the times you're annoyed that she's there because she's just running away the whole match. So because narratively, even though she's unique and cool, narratively she's just cannon fodder. She dies at the end of the only story she's in. Her power is extremely nerfed, and her gameplay is super annoying. We gotta eliminate Cetrion as well. And lastly, for Mortal Kombat 11, we have Fujin. This guy, I'm just gonna make short and sweet. He's a super cool character. Outside of Kenshi, I think he's arguably the most popular 3D era character. He's lore-wise, he's Raiden's brother. He's got the power of wind. He's got unique powers. He's got a cool narrative behind him. His design is really cool. Everything about this character is great, and I know a lot of people are actually very upset he was not a base character in Mortal Kombat 1. If you go on YouTube, you can find tons of videos out there from content creators asking, where's Fujin in Mortal Kombat 1? Why isn't he there? And I know that since he wasn't in Mortal Kombat 1 and isn't going to be, that people, the fans, are pushing for him to be in Mortal Kombat 2 or whatever the next sequel is. So, again, tons of reasons to keep Fujin on the roster. We're going to keep him. And that does it for Mortal Kombat 11. We've got one more roster to go through, and then we'll sum up this video. Alright, we are on our last roster, and I have said alright a whole bunch in this video, so hopefully you guys aren't too annoyed with that. But we're just going to go through real quick, eliminate all the characters we have previously talked about. Okay, so that should really be it for Mortal Kombat 1. All the characters that were just in all 4 games have been eliminated, and that's really all we're going to do for this roster. Similar to Mortal Kombat 9, brought back all of the popular characters, but brought back all the characters from Mortal Kombat 1 through Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 1 did a great job of bringing back the most popular characters from the 3D era. That was an era that was filled with just bad, nonsense characters that a lot of people did not like, and kind of led to the downfall of Midway games. Well, Mortal Kombat 1 picked out the best characters from that 3D era and threw them into here, along with some of the popular characters from Mortal Kombat 9 that we hadn't seen since then, such as Smoke, we have Reptile, playable in Mortal Kombat X, missing from 11, but people are glad they brought him back. So, that's going to really conclude it for eliminating our rosters. Now let's go through, tally up who's remaining on each roster, and let's rank each of these rosters from worst to best. And now finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. In 4th place, with 19 roster spots remaining, is Mortal Kombat 11. In 3rd place, with 20 roster spots remaining, is Mortal Kombat X. And now to clarify this, if you guys are looking at the screen and you're counting the roster spots left for Mortal Kombat X, you count that there's 17, but I said 20. However, Triborg technically counts as 4 roster spots, because that is the only character where each one of its variations in Mortal Kombat X is a unique character. You get Cyber Sub-Zero, Cyber Smoke, Cyrax, and Sector, and each one has its own classic moveset. So technically, Triborg is 4 different characters, and that's going to bump us up from 17 spots to 20, which ironically moves Mortal Kombat X from last place to 3rd. Next up in 2nd place, we have Mortal Kombat 1 with 21 roster spots. And finally, to the surprise of no one, in 1st place with the best roster under the NRS era with 22 unique fan favorite roster spots is Mortal Kombat 9. Honestly, these roster rankings are a little bit different than I would have thought. I honestly thought Mortal Kombat 1 would have been at the bottom, considering it has the least amount of base characters. However, they did have the most amount of DLC characters, and every character in that game really was a fan favorite. This just goes to show you that sometimes quality is better than quantity. Actually, in all situations, quality is better than quantity. These rankings were also a lot closer. Like, the difference between 1st place and last place is 3 roster spots. each roster within each other is only one character away. So despite how you might rank these rosters, they're all still pretty close. So that's the video. That's all we really got for today. Do you guys agree with these rankings? If so, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you disagree, still subscribe, still leave a like, but then tell me in the comments below what you disagree with and why. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.